Have you ever noticed that someone suddenly becomes terrible at a task the moment they don't want to do it? Maybe a partner who just can't load the dishwasher properly, or a coworker who always forgets how to use the reporting software, or a parent who somehow never gets it right when helping with the kids' bedtime routine. When it keeps happening, it stops looking like genuine confusion or misunderstanding, and it begins to look like something else. This is what we call weaponized incompetence. And it's a common, frustrating dynamic that often can play out in romantic relationships, in families, and in the workplace. Weaponized incompetence happens when someone exaggerates or performs helpless to avoid responsibility or to shift the workload onto somebody else. It's not a lack of ability, it's a strategy that they use. The person may act incapable or clumsy or confused, knowing, consciously or not, that the other person will get frustrated and will just take over. And what's the result of this? They get out of the task that they didn't want to do, and you get stuck with it. It's a subtle form of manipulation that can quietly chip away at trust and respect in relationships over time. Now, it's important to be clear about this. Incompetence on its own isn't the problem. Everyone has areas where they genuinely lack skill or experience. The issue is when this incompetence becomes a tool, when someone uses, I don't know how, as like a shield against effort or accountability. You often see it with recurring excuses like, you're just better at it, or I always mess it up, or you're too particular, or I just get in the way. These all sound harmless, but over time, what they do is they shift responsibility in a way that benefits one person and puts a burden on the other. Now, people engage in weaponized incompetence for a few reasons. Sometimes it's about avoidance. They don't want to deal with the discomfort or the effort that comes with learning a new task or doing a task well. Other times, it's about control. Getting someone else to take on the work gives them the freedom from responsibility, and they get to do what they want to do. And in some cases, it's about learned helplessness. They grew up in environments where playing incapable actually gave them attention or help or relief from pressure. By adulthood, it's become an automatic way of interacting. The common thread in all of these three is reinforcement. When it works, when the other person steps in, that behavior of weaponized incompetence gets rewarded. The task disappears, the tension eases, and that moment of relief teaches the person's brain, this is how I get out of things I don't want to do. Now, what makes weaponized incompetence so insidious is that it often doesn't look intentional. Many people using it aren't plotting to manipulate anyone. They just know that if they play up their ineptitude, someone else will step in. And that's easier than facing complaints or consequences for not doing something right. That's why it can be hard to recognize. The line between genuine inability and strategic helplessness can be a blurry one. The simplest way to tell the difference is repetition. A one off mistake, that's normal. That happens to everybody. A consistent pattern of selective incompetence, especially when it always seems to serve the same person's interest, that's not. The person on the receiving end of this behavior often is the one that pays a heavy price. Over time, that person takes on more of the invisible labor, the planning, the organizing, the remembering, the redoing. It's not just extra work, it's emotional load. They feel frustration and resentment build up, but at the same time, they feel guilty for feeling that way. Many people in this situation convince themselves it's just easier to handle things rather than to argue. They tell themselves, at least it'll get done right the first time. But each time they step in, they reinforce the pattern, and the other person learns that underperforming actually works. That's how a relationship slowly turns into one person managing and the other coasting. The emotional impact of this can be massive. It chips away at respect and intimacy in romantic relationships. It can create tension and burnout in families. It can breed quiet resentment at work. It changes the emotional balance. The person taking on the burden starts to feel like a parent or a manager or a caretaker rather than an equal partner or a colleague. And once you're in that dynamic, it's hard to get out of it because any attempt to set boundaries can be met with defensiveness or accusations that you're just trying to be controlling. The cycle of weaponized incompetence tends to look the same no matter the context. Someone performs helpless. The other person, annoyed by wanting things done properly, then steps in. The task, now that's gotten completed. But now the first person has successfully avoided effort. So the next time, the same thing happens, only it happens faster. Eventually, it becomes an unspoken agreement. One person acts incapable, the other does the work, and both roles become ingrained. Even if the competent person wants to break the pattern, they often feel stuck because letting go means that things might not get done or might get done really badly. And that's frustrating in its own right. So, recognizing weaponized incompetence starts with noticing patterns, not implying intention. Ask yourself, does this person consistently underperform only in certain areas, especially the ones that they dislike? Do they show effort when it benefits them, but forget or mess up when it doesn't? Do they respond to feedback with defensiveness instead of acceptance and curiosity? And how do you feel after you interact with them? Are you irritated? Are you drained? Do you feel guilty? These are all cues that the dynamic that's happening may not be healthy. So, how do you handle it? How do you manage this weaponized incompetence? Well, the key is to break the reinforcement loop. First, you want to resist the urge to step in immediately. Let natural consequences happen as long as the consequences aren't harmful. If a coworker misses a deadline because they didn't know how, don't fix it for them. Let the supervisor see the result. If a partner forgets to pay a bill, let them deal with the late fee. When people feel the real impact of their own inaction, they're more likely to learn and make changes. Secondly, you want to set clear boundaries. Communicate directly, but in a calm way. Avoid attacking their character or implying that they're doing it intentionally. Focus on the pattern. You might say something like, I've noticed that when we split tasks, I often end up doing most of them. That doesn't work for me. I need you to take responsibility for this part. Keep the focus on their behavior, not their intention. You don't need to prove that they're doing it on purpose to set limits around it. Third, you want to shift the accountability dynamic. Instead of redoing the task or micromanaging them, set expectations and follow up. If someone says they don't know how, offer to show them once, but make it clear that learning is part of their responsibility. Saying, I'm happy to walk you through it, but I can't keep doing it for you. That balance, which is firm but fair, prevents you from slipping into the caretaker role that tends to sustain this pattern. Fourth, you want to notice and reinforce genuine effort. If the other person does step in or tries to improve, acknowledge it. Change rarely sticks through confrontation alone. It's consistency that matters. The goal isn't to punish the other person, it's to break a dynamic that's been rewarding the wrong behaviors. So you want to notice when the right behaviors are happening and reinforce those. It's also worth being honest about your own role in this pattern. Many people who end up carrying the load are high functioning, they're detail oriented, or they're uncomfortable with things being done imperfectly. Sometimes the need for control or order keeps them in the cycle just as much as the other person's avoidance. So, part of reclaiming the balance in relationships is learning to tolerate imperfection, letting someone fail and learn that may be uncomfortable, but it's often the only way to reset or reestablish the dynamic. At its core, weaponized incompetence is about imbalance in effort and accountability and in emotional labor. It thrives when one person continually picks up this slack to keep things going along or keep things peaceful. But peace that depends on one person doing everything, that's not really peace. It becomes quiet resentment. The way out starts with recognizing the pattern and being willing to change your side of it, even if the other person doesn't immediately change theirs. So, if you've been feeling that quiet frustration, doing more, explaining more, holding everything together when someone else just can't, the idea is to take a step back. Notice where you're overfunctioning, where you're rescuing, and where you can let others take responsibility. It's not about being harsh or mean-spirited. It's about restoring fairness and respect. Because when both people carry their share, relationships of all kinds, whether romantic, family, or professional, they become healthier and more equal. So, have you ever noticed weaponized incompetence in your relationships? If so, how did you deal with it? Let me know in the comments down below. So, that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.